program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Abuja. Let's continue our countdown and getting ourselves prepared mentally and psychologically for the opportunity to elect Nigeria's next president. It's now 43 days before that day, the February 25th, 2023, when Nigerians will be able to elect a new leader. So get your PVC and make your vote count. Hashtag Nigeria Decide. Countdown with me, Nigerians, and let's continue to look forward to that good day. It came in the news early this morning. The man has missed his flight to London. The former Director General of the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council, Dr. Doyin Okupe, was arrested today by Nigeria's secret police, the DSS, while he's about to get out of the international airport in Lagos to London. The DSS arrested Dr. Okupe at the Lagos airport, but hours later, the Labour Party chieftain said he had been released, describing his arrest as an error. The DSS claimed it arrested the former presidential aide on instruction of the anti-graft agency, the Economy Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The EFCC said that the Department of State Services, the DSS, acted on a 2016 watch list request to arrest former presidential aide. The anti-graft agency also said that it was in the process of formally lifting the watch list on Dr. Okupe before it was intercepted by the secret police. The commission, however, said it will expedite action and remove the Labour Party chieftain from its watch list. Okupe was the Director General of the campaign of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, but resigned last December after a court in Abuja found him guilty of money laundering charges, and he had paid off his fine and even attended the party's rallies this year before this airport incident earlier today. Well, so much to talk about. There are 18 political parties that we understand that have gone to INEC to say they have a candidate for the 25th of February race. But not all of them are finding things easy within their political parties. There are struggles here and there. The PDP have its own troubles. The APC has its own trouble. Even the ADC has its own trouble. What are these troubles? Tonight we'll focus on some of these issues. Then also we'll delve into the internal crisis of the PDP, and we'll look at the presidential election, the choice of the next leader of Nigeria. But before we get into all of that tonight, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Mr. Adewale Adebayo, has flagged off his campaign in Kano State. Mr. Adebayo and his vice presidential candidate, Mr. Yusuf Buhari, and party supporters visited the Emir of Kano before he commenced a door-to-door campaign in various communities. The governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani, has promised that his administration will focus on skills acquisition for the youths and women, as well as improving the standard of education and agriculture in the state if elected governor. Addressing Southern Kaduna stakeholders in Kafanchan, Jama local government area during a town hall meeting, the APC governorship candidate also promises to complete all ongoing projects being executed by the current administration, as well as initiating new ones that will benefit the entire people of Kaduna State.
We believe our farmers are very important, and agriculture is one of the most important areas we need to concentrate.
The Benue State Governor, Mr. Sam Ohuabunwa, has cautioned the Independent National Electoral Commission against the postponement of the 2023 general election on the excuse of insecurity, noting that Nigerians are in a hurry to elect new leaders, that will bring on board solutions to the many challenges confronting the country. Mr. Ohuabunwa, who made the call during a courtesy visit to the resident electoral commissioner in charge of Benue State, Professor Samegu, said the January 15 deadline for the collection of PVC could be extended to allow more people to pick their PVCs.
As long as you keep to your rules of engagement, we are going to cooperate with you. We are ready for elections.
The immediate past governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Siriake Dixon, has called on the political class in the state to shun rumor-mongering and work to ensure the victory of the People's Democratic Party in the state. He made this known when Governor Duye Diri flagged off the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party campaigns for the 2023 elections in Bayelsa West Senatorial District.
Anybody who is honest and rational will know that at a level you become a father to all.
The Independent National Electoral Commission in Ekiti State is increasing efforts to ensure collection of voter cards by registrants in the state. The electoral umpire is worried that more than 200,000 voter cards are still in its custody, a development that has prompted street campaigns and awareness by the commission. The spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties, Mr. Ikenga Ugochinyere Imo, is calling on the federal government to release the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, from the DSS detention as a matter of urgency. Speaking at a press conference held at his country home in Imokego community, Akoka, Idiato North local government area of Imo State, Ugo Chinyere Imo said the appeal is coming after an attention drawn by Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, disclosing that his health is failing and needs urgent medical attention. The All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State has condemned the attack and vandalization of its campaign properties by some suspected political thugs. The party is accusing the main opposition party, the PDP, of using political thugs to set ablaze a campaign vehicle and other vehicles belonging to APC during a rally of its governorship candidate, Dauda Lawal, recently.
The PDP thugs had perpetrated such twice before now, so enough is enough.
There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has renewed calls to foreign governments and representatives not to meddle in Nigeria's internal affairs. The president made this known when he received letters of credence from ambassadors of Switzerland, Sweden, the Republic of Ireland, the Kingdom of Thailand, the Republic of Senegal, and the Republic of South Sudan at the State House in Abuja. The president welcomed them to the presidential villa, but made his views known on what the role of this government should be ahead of the February 25th election.
I wish to finally note that Nigerians will be going to the polls to elect another government at the general election on the 25th of February this year, 2023. I urge you to be guided by diplomatic practice to ensure that your activities remain within the limits of your profession as you monitor the build-up to the elections and the conduct of the general election itself. I am therefore confident that your appointments are obviously deliberate to build on the successes of your immediate predecessors in order to advance our relations to significant and enviable heights.
As President Muhammadu Buhari there speaking to ambassadors of some countries at the State House in Abuja. Now, there are 18 political parties we understand said to have fielded candidates in the next month's presidential race. But one party is definitely in troubled waters due to internal issues. That is the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Justice Inyako had removed the Nwosu-led leadership of the ADC and nullified all actions taken by them from August 21, 2022 to date. She also affirmed the leadership of Senator Patricia Akwashiki, which conducted the primary that produced Dumebi Kachikwu. But Chief Ralph Nwosu insists, this is the man whom the court ruled against, insisted that Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu is no longer the presidential candidate of the party. He said the party will not field any presidential candidate for the presidential election. Mr. Nwosu said he was not aware of an Abuja High Court order which sacked him as the national chairman of the party, expressing regrets that delegates of the party made the error of choosing Kachikwu during the national convention and the primaries of the party earlier last year. Tonight, Let's speak with the man in question here, the man whom Mr. Ralph Nwosu is speaking about, and is the presidential candidate of the ADC, Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Are you on the ballot?
Of course I'm on the ballot.
What is happening with your party? It does look to me that that battle rages on. After that court case, Mr. Ralph Nwosu seems not to be satisfied, or he doesn't even recognize whatever that has gone on. And it appears yourself and Kwashiki, the realm of affairs of the party is neither nor there in your reach.
Okay, well, what happened is that after the Justice Nyako gave her ruling on the 20th of December, that ruling has been served on INEC and served on law enforcement. But what we notice and what has been in plain sight all this month is that the INEC chairman seems to be in cahoots with Ralph Nwosu, because once the order was served on him, he has had several meetings with Nwosu, which seems to suggest that he's disobeying the court order. So this is an INEC chairman that speaks about credible elections, but his actions are not credible where it concerns my party.
So let's clear it one after the other.
Yeah.
You say you've laid two claims now. You said that the INEC chairman is meeting with Mr. Nwosu. Are you privy to that?
Yeah, no, they had a meeting. These are meetings that
with political parties.
With political parties. Nwosu was there. Two meetings now. The INEC chairman has had.
INEC is still recognizing Ralph Nwosu,
so
isn't it?
If Nwosu is in a meeting with the INEC chairman, it seems to suggest
with the commission.
Yes, correct.
So because you make it look like there is a personal or private meeting with Mr. Ralph Nwosu.
The chairman of the commission is the figurehead of the commission, and when he has a meeting with party chairman and he brings in someone who is no longer the chairman of the party, someone at a court, a competent court of law, has ruled that this man is no longer the chairman, and all actions taken by this man since August 31st are null and void. And when INEC chairman is having a meeting with this man, what does it suggest? It's, first of all, he's in contempt of court, and he's saying to the whole world, I don't care what the judge has said. So we're going to go back to the court and ask the judge to look at the actions of the INEC chairman.
Are you aware that there may be an action to appeal that High Court ruling, and perhaps there is a stay on that?
There's no stay, and the notice of appeal, as the courts have ruled, does not stay a ruling.
But there's a notice of appeal.
There's a notice of appeal. Well, that's not a stay on a ruling until a competent court of law gives a stay on a ruling stays valid.
But there's also a procedural policy in the court. When there is an hearing or when an appeal has been entered, it effectively tells about the substantive judgment, isn't it? So has there been an appeal filed?
An appeal, there's a notice of appeal. That's all we have so far.
And you are privy whether or not the appeal has been validly filed. You are
exactly,
not privy to that.
So what we have is a notice of appeal.
So now let me ask you another question, and which is the fact that you have laid claim and allegation against the INEC and the INEC chairman. Are you aware or not that INEC may not be privy to the judgment, or INEC may not have been served? Has INEC been served?
INEC has been served. We have it on good authority. INEC was served. INEC endorsed their copy. They received it, and we know that they have been served. So what INEC is doing essentially is trying to maneuver this process. Unfortunately, and if you know what has happened within our party, INEC is the custodian of the constitution of all parties. The same INEC happened to know that the tenure of this man, who has been there for 17 years, lapsed at the end of August. INEC, knowing this, still continue to deal with this man, therefore jeopardizing the ambitions of all candidates in our party. The judge has now ruled that all actions taken by Nwosu and his cohorts are null and void. INEC, knowing this, is now still allowing the same Nwosu and his people continue to upload agent codes as we speak. Now, this is a party that they have said very, very clearly, Nwosu and his people, that they intend on aligning with other parties. What does that say? That INEC supports something that is disreputable. Nigeria is one of the only countries where you have an electoral umpire, that you are watching candidates in different parties fly the flags of other parties. It says a lot about the credibility of our process and the kind of process we run. But under this INEC chairman, it seems to have gotten worse.
You are still on the ballot.
Yes, I am.
As far as the INEC.
Of course, correct, yes.
But the only thing that you don't have working in your favor is that you do not have a leadership that is in your favor. Kachikwu, who is supposed to be on your side, is not recognized by INEC. Doesn't that speak volume?
So the court has the final say, and the court has ruled. What INEC is doing right now is going against a valid court order. We've gone back to court now to ask the judge to look at the fact that INEC is in contempt of court. INEC has disobeyed a valid court order. That's what we're doing. Because what this is doing to the candidates in our party is that it's jeopardizing all our efforts. Because as long as people who intend on trading our mandates are still in touch with INEC on a daily basis.
So are you alleging? Say it clearly. So
I am saying categorically, we are watching them. We will see very soon. You'll see what will happen. We've seen it in time past in previous elections. What they will do is to come and say they are in an alliance with another party. And I'm warning all parties, especially the APC and PDP, that any of them who dares to enter an alliance with Nwosu's faction of the ADC, they will see the candidates within my party will make them our business. Will make them the focus of our campaigns. Our mandates will not be traded. So we're watching them. And I say to anybody who's giving money to them, who's in alliance with them, who's in talks with them, stay clear of the ADC. ADC is not for sale.
You're making allegations.
I am making strong and categorical statements.
That money is exchanging hands without evidence. You're mentioning the name of Ralph Nwosu.
What I'm saying...
You need to be able to... these are libelous. You need to be able to... You have evidence to that effect.
My dear Shehu, I'll repeat this again. When someone who claims and who says he's been the chairman of a party for 17 years is speaking about forging or entering an alliance with other parties, it speaks volume as to intent. It's that intent I am speaking about. We're in an electoral season where we see people, voters are being lured to rallies and being paid to attend rallies. Now you again speak to, I'm making serious allegations. This is Nigeria. We know what is happening.
But you don't have evidence that the man in question, the man you are making allegations against, actually collected money from anyone.
I have not said he has. I'm saying that...
anyone giving them money.
I said that anyone who intends to enter an alliance, a commercial alliance, and I'm warning them that if they do that, will make them our focus.
Let me
ADC.
Why do you think that Mr. Ralph Nwosu had said categorically, and as part of my introduction, that the party does not intend to field any candidate, and that your emergence was an error?
So let me tell you this. I was elected, validly elected by a convention that had over 2,000 delegates. So Nwosu is talking absolute rubbish there. All Nwosu wants to do, and all Nwosu has done in his career as chairman of the party, is to enter alliance before the elections. And I'm saying that my election will not be one of those elections. I will not be one of those candidates who he trades off. The late Maliafa, this is what happened to him, and he never recovered from that. I've said this before in your show. And I'm saying that I'm a candidate who is running my election, and Nwosu will not trade my mandate or the mandate of any other candidates in my party.
Some of those who are opposed to your stand in the party, because Aya said, your emergence was an error. You remember the position of the likes of Professor Kingsley Moghalu, those in the party who believed that there was, some underhand dealings in your emergence as a candidate of the party.
Absolutely.
Would this kind of event prove them right?
What event here? I will remind you that there was an almost 300 gap between I and Moghalu. There was no contest there, so I won't even speak to that. There was no contest there. 300 difference between I and Moghalu. I won that election fair and square. All I'm saying right now is that INEC, there's a court order. Recognize that court order. Stop dealing with these people. That's all.
Going forward, how do you think Nigerians will take your ticket seriously? Because the election is 43 days, you are still having internal fights.
So, yes, internal fights are a distraction, yes. But we still stay on course with our message. Tell you what I believe is a tragedy in this election circle. It's been difficult for people to stay on point in speaking to a message about the problems that beset Nigeria. We have infrastructural deficits, we have inflation, twin problems of inflation and recession, inflation above 21% officially, and we know officially it might be double that. We have unemployment, over 60 million people unemployed. Poor people, over 120 million people said to be poor in Nigeria. Our healthcare personnel are leaving Nigeria in droves. Our middle class live in Nigeria in droves. Our borders porous. We are exporting and trading in human parts in Nigeria. Kidnapping is the business of the day. And we need to speak to these issues. Unfortunately, in this political dispensation, in this election race, it's been difficult to focus on issues, to speak to solutions, to proper solutions to the problems besetting Nigeria. All we speak about are non-issues. And I refuse to be distracted. And I'm calling on Nigerians because this is a strategy, especially of the big parties. Confuse you with the jokes that go on every day, and nobody speaks about these issues. Some of us in the smaller parties, I'll tell you this. When we joined this race, we joined the race believing that at some point we'll sit on a platform with some of the bigger parties, have a healthy debate, and talk about our problems, speak about our economy and what needs to be done. Every issue concerning the economy. What do we do? What do we do about security, our healthcare, about education? We ran because we believe that we have something to offer so that we can sit down with these people and Nigerians will hear us. It's now an ideas contest. Unfortunately, Sheung, 40-something days to the elections, we've not had this opportunity. Nigerians have been denied of this opportunity. So every day we hear about endorsements that you ask yourself, what are these endorsements based on when Nigerians have not been able to actually hear or see anything?
So you're not happy with the endorsement? Well, Peter Obi has received more of those endorsements.
So let me speak about endorsement. Like I was saying just now, people are making endorsements based on nothing. You are building something on nothing. If we had had these debates, if we had had the opportunity to robustly discuss our problems as Nigerians, Nigerians will be better off. This is what we see in all climes. Nigeria, a country of almost 200 million people, has not had the opportunity to do this. So we enter this election and nobody has come and said, you know what, we've debated the housing problem in Nigeria, our infrastructural deficit. What do we do about tourism? What do we do about healthcare, education, about our economy, about corruption? Nothing. Nobody has had the opportunity to discuss this in detail. And we're going into the elections. So when people go on 25th of February to elect a president, what are they electing a president based on? When they have not heard anyone speak critically to all the issues that beset us.
I mean,
so that's why
your entering into the race was not to win it, was just to have an opportunity to debate.
Absolutely not. My entry into the race was to show Nigerians that in the midst of those who are out there, that I have something that is going to rescue Nigeria at this point.
Do you feel disappointed?
I am. So the issue at this point is that you get the feeling that you are running a race against a major system. One part of the major system is Nigerians who seem to be in this bubble that we call the Stockholm syndrome or Nigerian syndrome, who seem captivated by those who have held them captive. And it worries you when you go out there because considering that even if you earn 50,000 naira a month, it cannot last you 1 week in Nigeria. These people who should resent these people, who should protest against these same people running, you see them there. When you watch what you see out there, you are marveled, you are amazed. How can these people who are suffering so much still be ready to sell their birthright?
You are a 48-year-old presidential candidate.
Correct, yes.
Are you disappointed that your message is not resonating with the young people of Nigeria?
So, like I said, we do know that the Stockholm syndrome is operating within Nigerians. Am I disappointed? Yes, I am disappointed. I believe that a lot more needs to be done with Nigerians, because when people are suffering from a Stockholm syndrome, you need to go through a psychological process of loving these people, talking them, encouraging them. It's not a one-day process. It's a sustained process that you need to get them out of this. Nigerians, unfortunately, might be running out of time. I tell you this, Sheun. Come February 25th, right? If we elect one of these people that the media seems to call the leading candidates as president of Nigeria, at a time when we all know that our problems are so monumental that everybody says that no one president can come in and solve our problems, and we then bring the same people who have created, who have caused our problems, to continue to put out the fire that they have created. I tell you what my worry is. The 120 million poor Nigerians who we take for granted, who we take their patience for granted. I say this all the time. My worry is that, what if I'm leaving your studios and that's when they erupt? That's when they cannot take it anymore. That's when someone says, I cannot stay 4 days without eating anymore. That's when someone says, I cannot live a hopeless, dejected, helpless life anymore. That's my biggest worry. That's why, with the remaining 40-something days we have, I call on the media. Let's not be distracted. Let's hold our presidential candidates and all candidates accountable. Let's bring them to a table. Let's discuss, debate these issues. Even in debating these issues, you get to learn something from your opponents. You get to learn something from you. We get to discuss the problems of Nigeria. That is not in play here. And so when people get into office, having been elected into office based on reasons that are not objective, you find that Nigeria is the worst off. The world has given up on Nigeria. Nigerians have given up on Nigeria. That's why they're leaving Nigeria in droves. Those who have decided to stay, if you decide to stay in Nigeria, you must then fight for Nigeria. I'm running because I'm fighting for Nigeria. I
have not given up on Nigeria.
I haven't. That's why I'm here.
I've had the opportunity to leave this country several times, but I will not, because I believe in this country. And so many people, perhaps millions of them who are watching tonight. But on a final note, if you say you have fears about those you think that in the front line in the race for the presidency of Nigeria, that you don't see them as the right candidate for the job, what do you think is a consequence? And who do you think, because I know you say yourself, and why would you think that you are the best candidate?
So let me say this again, Sheun. Nigerians have heard for so long that if they get the elections wrong, that something will happen. And nothing happens, and Nigerians believe that we have a lot of time. Let me say this to Nigerians, all Nigerians watching me. The time has come. We've run out of time as a country, as a nation, as a people. This soup that is being cooked to disintegrate Nigeria is on the fire. The elections we're about to have is the matchstick. Depending on how Nigerians vote and what happens in these elections, Nigeria might not be what we know it to be. You have those who believe that it's their turn, that they have been denied the opportunity to rule Nigeria in the southeast, and who a lot of them are speaking towards P2B because they believe that he's an Igbo man and the turn of the Igbos. You have an Asiwaju who says, it's my turn because I have sponsored other people and it's my turn, irrespective of the fact that my cognitive abilities have so declined that I'm not able to perform in the office. You have the PDP candidate who is running a race, whereas within his party they believe that the ticket should have been zoned. And now you have other candidates who are coming. Someone like me who's saying that we need to build a Nigeria that works for everyone, where we no longer respect tribe, ethnicity, religion, where Nigeria is founded on meritocracy and not on mediocrity. In Nigeria, where we protect our borders, where we take our people as our key assets.
If Nigerians are not voting for you, who would you say they should vote for? And the other guys that are on the ballot?
If they're not voting for me, who should they vote for? Tell you what, I don't see anyone.
But yourself?
I don't see anyone amongst the people you're probably referring to. You're talking about, are you talking about
18 of you?
18 of us.
So if they're not voting for you,
yes.
for example, who would you suggest that they vote for?
Let me say this very clearly. Nigerians must vote in a direction that is different from what they have done before. You see something, Shehu? If you take the trio of Asiwaju, Atiku, and P2B, what they have in common is that they have all held office in Nigeria that is seen to be a failed nation. Nigerians must take a chance on trying something new. It can never be this bad. What we have experienced in the last 8 years, it can never be this bad.
Right.
But if we go with these people, we are continuing on this trajectory.
Dumebi Kachikwu, the presidential candidate of the ADC, thank you so much indeed for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Shehu.
We'll take a break, everyone, and when we return, our attention will be on the People's Democratic Party. The presidential candidate is in the United Kingdom, perhaps maybe planning to make his way back to the country. Now, Sam Ohuabunwa, one of the presidential aspirants of the PDP in the presidential primary, will be joining me next on the program. We'll be looking at the internal issues in the PDP. Is the party still in the top running for the 2023 presidential race? Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back.
This is what they call 21st century. When my customer say I want to use POS, I will just bring out my phone, open the application, use this, press this code. I don't have anyone that using POS anymore.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. Let's, before we get into our second conversation tonight, let's tell you some good news. For those of you who are unable to collect your permanent voter cards, some good news coming from INEC tonight. We can tell you that INEC has now extended the collection of permanent voter cards. The collection at the registration area on the ward level is extended by 1 week. From Monday 16 to Sunday the 22nd January 2023, and collection at local government level will resume on Monday the 23rd to Sunday 29th January 2023. The breaking news coming right here on Channels Television. INEC has extended the collection of permanent voter cards. Collection at the registration area and ward level is extended by 1 week, which will be happen from the 16th Monday to the 22nd Sunday, January 2023, and collection at the local government level will resume on the 23rd Monday to Sunday, 29th January 2023. The commission is saying that in some states, as many as 100,000 PVCs were collected in the very last 5 days since the evolution of ward level. So they've seen a reason why the extension is necessary. So those of you who have not been able to collect, this is an opportunity to get that done. The presidential candidate of the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has been in the UK with some members of his team, and they've been having several meetings with heads of governments and some representatives of the government in Britain. And some of the meetings include the discussion on the ideas that the PDP candidate has should he win the presidency in solving issues relating to the economy, security, and the unity of Nigeria. Also, Mr. Atiku Abubakar had a meeting with the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. But in the midst of all of these meetings, at the conversation, criticism coming from the APC, alleging that the PDP candidate is not well, that in fact he is in the UK for treatment, and that the fact that he is corrupt. These are the allegations coming from the PDP. In fact, the presidential candidate of the APC said something. It might not be mentioning names, but it made inference. Let me allow you to listen to him. All right, I'll get to you that soundbite in just a moment. But let's talk about the internal issues of the People's Democratic Party. the 2023 presidential race and the choice before you Nigerians, because you are the one that will be making that choice. I'm being joined by Dr. Sam Ohuabunwa. He was in the race for that ticket and is a chieftain of the PDP. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight. It's good to see you. And Happy New Year.
My pleasure. Same to you.
I hope it's not too late to say Happy New Year.
No, it's never late.
It's the 12th day of the year.
Why the New Year? So as long as you are in the New Year, it's Happy New Year.
Absolutely. And we have all things to thank God for too.
That's
good
it.
Health and the fact that we are part of this critical moment in our country. The question is, can your party provide that solution?
This is the time to be alive in Nigeria, truly. If people wanted to die, I encourage them to be alive, because what is about to happen, it's something we've prayed for. And those of us who are Christians and Muslims have fasted for. You know, God answers prayers, and he does it in his own way. I think PDP is perhaps the most equipped party to offer what Nigerians are looking for this time because of the experience. You know, they say experience is the best teacher. When people go through certain circumstances, they are better educated to be able to do better than they thought. So PDP has experience, having governed, today governs in several states, hasn't governed the federal government for 16 years, and been in opposition for 8 years. It has understood the areas that Nigeria is yearning for change. It has understood the areas it could have done better at the time it did. So it brings all that with the large human resource and human capital that it has that are in the different sectors of the economy and the politics to be able to bring the yearning of Nigerians to reality at this time. So I think the party is set and equipped to be able to meet the needs and the cries of our people.
I wanted to take a listen to Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC,
and
what he has to say. I'd like to get your view on it.
We have integrity in variety. Whatever they like to say, and the Poverty Development Party, PDP, Poverty Development Party. You remember their name? Poverty Development Party. We will eradicate that. We will replace it with joy, prosperity, happiness, and employment.
All right. You heard the manner in which Bola Tinubu christened your party. It's a poverty development party. What do you have to say to that?
Talk is cheap. Facts are sacred. I think you're a very renowned journalist. What do figures say? What the data says? What's the poverty level when PDP was in power? What's the poverty level today? What was the unemployment level when PDP was in power? What's the unemployment rate? What was the inflation rate? What was the Naira exchange rate? What was our placement in Human Development Index? What is our placement today? Corruption Perception Index in the world. In every area. Insecurity, Nigeria has degenerated to the level that is regarded as one of the unsafest countries in the world. So you cannot see what is black and convince us it's white. PDP took over reins from a military government and did its best to turn us onto the path of modern economics and modern politics, modern governance. That's why PDP came with deregulation, came with commercialization, came with all efforts to open up the economy so that private sector can participate, foreign investment can flow in. PDP did its best to renegotiate our debts so that we became credit-worthy, that investors can come, businesses can come. That's what PDP did. Changed the Nigerian status as a pariah nation to become a nation that was globally respected. It couldn't have finished it in 16 years. It's ongoing process, building a nation. So for pots to be calling kettle black I think Nigerians must be amused for anybody to be calling PD poverty development. If there was any poverty development party, it's clear that it's APC. It is clear, not because I said it, but because of the number of poverty. Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world during this time of this government. Nigeria has the highest unemployment, youth unemployment, that got up to 50%. It's in this place. Misery index climbed. So there is nothing that Nigerians have enjoyed in this government. Nothing. Not because they can no longer buy. Can you imagine the cost of petrol? I was buying 500 naira. And yet we're budgeting 3.6 trillion for subsidy payment. We're paying subsidy, the cap has been removed, and the prices are haywire. What kind of a country is this? This is the country that has, and between November and now, many more Nigerians have been driven into poverty. I met a lot of people who had motor parks who came to the motor park and couldn't pay their fares back because prices jumped up because of the change in cost of petrol. In a nation that produces fuel, this is a joke. So I think it's a joke on APC. And I think Nigerians they can see, they can hear.
Why should Nigerians look in the direction of your party's candidate, Atiku Abubakar?
They should look in his direction because I think he is the most experienced. And trust me, my friend, Shehu, experience counts in governance. He is going to come to power if he's elected by Nigerians and he hit the ground. He's not going to be learning. He's not going to understanding the interface between judiciary, legislature, and the executive. He's not going to be understanding, looking to study the interaction between the different levels of government, the federal, the state, and the local government. These are things when you're out of power, you're not close to that, you may never understand. You take time to learn them. Nigeria is in such a state that we don't have much time for learning. We have time to hit the ground and start running. Atiku is prepared. I haven't been vice president for 8 years. And whether you like it or not, in the 8 years he governed along with President Obasanjo, you will know that our country moved in the right direction. It didn't move as to say that it attained the highest level of growth, but it began to recover. The nation began to recover. Nigeria began to recover.
Can we trust Atiku?
Why would we not trust him? What has he said that he failed? In which area? Is it in trust, in trying to...
And the reason why I asked that question is because at this point in time, would you blame Nigerians who are somewhat pessimistic about how the system works? Would you blame Nigerians who do not believe anything the politicians say, considering what they say and what Nigerians get? Anyways, Nigerians, the average Nigerians are the one on the receiving end.
Sure.
So there is that tendency that they have this pessimistic psychological attitude towards politicians and whatever they say. And that's why I ask you that they have 18 people as a choice presented before them. The likes of Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, in 2019, I remember speaking with him on the program, he described the candidature of Atiku and Buhari as the same. He said the APC and the PDP, they are Siamese twins. In fact, the name he gave the both parties, he said, Nigerians are running against one party, which is the APC and the PDP. In fact, he called them Butiku, Buhari and Atiku. He said they were the same. Now, this is an Atiku coming back in 2023. And that's why I'm asking the question, why should Nigerians trust the man you're describing tonight?
You see that there are things. First is that I have talked about experience, track record. If you check the work that was given to Atiku to do as vice president, along with running the government, you will see that Atiku discharged himself creditably. Every insinuation otherwise have been proven false. Secondly, Atiku has learned his lessons much more than anybody else. So he has experience on his side. Thirdly, Atiku is currently building up a team of versatile Nigerians in the different sectors of the economy. Today, I'm the campaign advisor, technical campaign advisor on private sector, because he knows that I was chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. I was president of NECA, chairman of MAN. So he wants to, because he has a desire to use the private sector as a springboard to increase productivity and investment in our country. And so he's bringing a couple of people right now into his team that will help him focus on those areas that will create employment, create productivity.
Since you are acting in that capacity for Atiku, what kind of economy is he planning to build? Should he become president?
He's building an economy that will be private sector led.
A capitalist economy?
Private sector led that will lead
in economic terms.
In economic terms, a capitalist.
Yeah, but it's a capitalist economy.
It's capitalist.
And so what is the import of that? That economy that is more of those who want to benefit and profit out of the general situation of the people rather than the benefit of
that is a capitalist economy. Is an economy that allows every individual who has desire to create wealth to do so. That's all, without undue interference by states. That's what the capitalists...
I mean, some of the disadvantages in countries that have operated is that sometimes it's at the detriment of the average person.
Yeah, that is where, therefore, there is need to protect some provisions, to protect the poor, to protect those who are unable to compete. But the critical thing in capitalism is that it allows individual development,
the
fulfillment of dreams,
push for his own
prices.
No, but the question is, are we at that point where Nigeria can afford such of that? I mean, if you look at all of the indices, we need some kind of welfareist tendency.
Welfareist tendency comes from
to give succor to Nigerians. A lot of them who cannot pay school fees, a lot of them who cannot even feed, a lot of them that cannot even transport themselves. I mean, this is a dire situation. And the question is, the critics of Atiku Abubakar said, this is the man who is planning to turn this economy into a capitalist-oriented economy. And they've criticized the PDP government in the past few years of creating a rent economy such that it is just for the few to benefit. And when he said he was going to sell it to his friends at the time, so those critics were the right to have criticized Atiku to say, it's just going to be government for the few friends of government.
Sheung, I think people always try to turn things to suit the argument. Today, we're complaining that refineries are not working. And if you know the amount of money that have invested in refineries, yet we're importing fuel. Would you not have preferred that those refineries were sold? In fact, they were sold. There was one was sold to Dangote, more or less. He was returned. Now, Dangote had built a refinery. That is capitalism. And the whole country is now hoping on Dangote's refinery. And whereas if the state, which is either socialism or other forms where there's a high level of government intervention in managing the business or the economy, that's what we see with littered businesses all over, with even what we're seeing are fuel problems in the country. So the issue is that it is capitalists that create wealth. But when you create the wealth, you distribute it in a manner. That's why you tax those who create the wealth and use the tax revenue to take care of those who are unable to take care of the wealth. Socialism will not yield that.
Let's anchor on this. I asked you the last time you were on the program, why is it difficult to resolve the crisis in your party? And I'm going to ask you the same question because nothing has changed. And it does look to me, from where I'm sitting right now, that if you have not resolved the issue, 5 states where these G5 governors are heading may be slipping out of the hands of the PDP. Isn't that dire for your party? And it's 43 days to the election.
Well, I want to assure you a few things. First is that the party is doing everything. You know, it's a democratic party. This is what distinguishes PDP, and that's why I belong to it. PDP is not owned by anybody. It is the most democratic, and the ownership is diverse. That's why it's not a personal property. And that is the only in PDP that you can have governors state their issues and decide that this is what they want done, and they are negotiating to get things done the way they want it. You probably won't find this in parties that are not democratic. So our party is doing its best to ensure that this, what you call internal issues are resolved. So the party is traveling on 2 tracks. Resolve this, while at the same time running with its campaign, hoping that at the end of the day, the fast-track campaign And the
so
solution of this will bring a higher acceptance of Nigerian voters.
Dr. Sam Ohuabunwa, a pharmacist,
yes,
a turned politician. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure calling me.
Well, the breaking news we're following for you right here on Channels Television. INEC has increased or extended the window for the collection of permanent voter cards. Collection at the registration area ward level is extended by 1 week from Monday the 16th to Sunday the 22nd January 2023, and collection at the local government level will resume on Monday 23rd to Sunday 29th January 2023. You get the latest on that at the top of the hour right here on Channels Television. That's how we close the program, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. God bless Nigeria.